To introduce Allie, we decided to write her a song.
How does a 5'6" dancer, child of a CEO and teacher,
dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot deep in Invergrove, the first of 4 kids as a daughter, grow up to be a JV soccer starter?
The $10 weekly paycheck won't take her far. Got a lot farther by working a lot harder, by being a lot smarter. Chinese and Spanish starter.
At 18, you placed her in charge of a senior speech.
And every day while students were being slaughtered by work and essays, studying for tests, she struggled and kept her grades up. Inside, she was longing for something to be a part of. Allie was ready to study kickballs and bailar.
Then high school came and devastation reigned. Our friends saw her future dripping down the drain.
Dad made her play 2 sports just to participate. Wrote her speech in refrain, a testament to her pain.
Well, the word got around. They said, this girl is insane, man. Spends all day at school to dance, then studies till a.m. Flawless hair and brows, every day killing the game. And the world's gonna know your name.
What's her name then?
Alexandra Verhey. Her name is Alexandra Verhey. And there's a million things she hasn't done.
Like her speech.
But just you wait, just you wait.
To my sister,
my Moana watching buddy,
and my best friend, the first speaker of today's assembly, Alexandra
Verhey.
Verhey.
Ask yourself, what was it that motivated you the most to get out of bed today? Was it the people you looked forward to seeing, a goal you planned to accomplish, or were you just hoping to get through the day? None of these things are incorrect reasons, but some might lead to a happier life. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation are the 2 forms of motivation in humans. Intrinsic motivation is when you perform an action because you genuinely enjoy it. This form comes from within and may stem from intangible factors that produce positive emotions. Extrinsic motivation is when you perform an action for the sake of an external outcome. For example, when you compete in a contest simply to win or do your chores to avoid punishment. However, there are actions that can stem from either motivation. If you study hard for a high grade, it could be for internal satisfaction, or it could be because you want recognition of your hard work. Recently, the difference between the 2 has impacted the choices that I have made. The last 6 months of my life have been consumed with college planning and the Common Application. As this applies to the majority of the senior class, there's often discussion in the hallways about it, which is expected. Some of these conversations lead to people talking about how they only participated in certain activities to build up their Common App resume, rather than out of pure enjoyment or passion. I understand that we would all like to have a resume with a perfect balance of athletics, community service, and other activities, but I question performing and participating in activities just for the sake of a resume. To me, it seems ingenuine and forced and extrinsically focused. This isn't to say that extrinsic motivation can't be a good thing. For example, there are occasions where an extrinsic reward motivates you to do something you would not have otherwise considered, and ultimately, it leads you down a path of personal satisfaction. When I look back at what I have done, I see that I have lots of experiences that I've enjoyed, but also many that instead consisted of going through the motions or trying to do what I thought I should be doing. Perhaps in some cases, I was trying to please my parents or someone else or just be part of a certain group. Growing up, I was exposed to so many sports and activities, and I was always encouraged to participate in school clubs. Over time, I built quite an eclectic resume, but I felt I wasn't focused on the activities that I enjoyed most. Many of you know that I'm very involved in competitive dance outside of school, but I didn't even start dancing seriously until 6th grade. When I performed my first solo in 9th grade, dance became the first activity that I realized that I was passionate about, and to which I decided to dedicate a majority of my time to. After pursuing it for the last 7 years, it has given me a benchmark to which I can compare my other hobbies and activities, and if they don't provide the same level of personal satisfaction and motivation, I'm learning to weed them out of my busy schedule. In Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, he suggests that most individuals can master a skill and become an expert if they put in 10,000 hours of practice. If you do the math, assuming most kids begin to dedicate real time to an activity at age 5, that would require 14 plus hours a week every single week from ages 5 to 18 to achieve. To me, this idea of mastery seems somewhat unrealistic for people our age, but it seems to be what everyone strives to do. We would all like to be good at everything, but looking at Gladwell's theory makes me wonder if we aren't all trying to do too much. I spend 20 hours a week at my dance studio, but I don't want to be a professional dancer, I just love doing it now. Gladwell also proposes that to be an NHL hockey player, your chances are improved if you are born in the first 3 months of the year. This may be related to the fact that our school system allows kids to be held back at a parent's discretion, sometimes driven by athletics, so that they can be the biggest and strongest player in high school. So, does this mean that people might start planning the birth of their children around this notion? This concept of motivation and internal happiness also applies to other areas of life, including relationships and interactions with other people. It's just a bit more complicated. Relationships may have deeper ties, emotions, and obligations, even more so than activities. And because of this, one might believe that fate plays a part. New people come into our lives every single day. The majority pass through, some may stick around for a while, and a select few stay in your circle forever. In most cases, the suspecting fate does its thing, and the length of time you spend with a person is meant to be for some unknown reason, but it's not a bad thing. It's okay to see a toxic relationship end, and you don't have to ever regret spending your time with those people. But in most cases, moving on to a more balanced and even relationship leads to better outcomes for everyone. I believe that the relationships change when the motivations of the relationship switch from being intrinsic to extrinsic. Those people that stick around forever have always been motivated intrinsically by you. Those that fade were perhaps at some point intrinsic, and those that never make a true connection were often extrinsically motivated by social power or personal gain. On the contrary, a few summers ago, I experienced a relationship that shifted from being extrinsic to intrinsically motivated. I traveled to Nicaragua with my mom and sister and became a sponsor to a 5-year-old boy named Dean. Originally, my motivations for going on the trip were purely extrinsic, but after spending time getting to know Dean, who likes to wear his pajamas all day, loves anything with minions from Despicable Me, and can be often found chasing outdoor cats so that he can give them a hug, completely changed my viewpoint. I started taking Spanish classes the following year, and now we exchange letters, and I hope to go visit him again soon. The amount of enjoyment that came from connecting with him stuck with me. Doing something because I truly cared made it such a positive experience. Society drives us to obtain our extrinsic goals, and these goals are not inherently bad on their own. They just may not generate the same level of satisfaction or lead you to find your passion. So personally, I think we shouldn't let our lives be driven and centered around the extrinsic actions. Seeing the transition in my motivation in many parts of my life is what taught me how valuable it is to care about what you do. I know that ever since I began to cut things out of my life that I'm not actually passionate about, my quality of life has greatly increased. Humans thrive off of doing things that they enjoy, so why waste time doing things just to do them? Instead, do the things you love and become invested in them. Psychiatrists propose that the benefits of an intrinsic motivation include greater satisfaction, increased self-forgiveness and confidence, and a self-sustaining lifestyle. Think about all of the things you've participated in. Each relationship, job, school club, or activity. The first ones that come to mind are the most memorable ones because they are the ones that meant the most to you. When you talk about these things, your positivity is contagious, and the people around you can see that you are enjoying yourself. It provides you with a sense of purpose in the activities you perform, which can only add to your overall happiness, and it provides a sense of peace in knowing that you are doing exactly what you should be doing. So do what you love with your time and energy. It's a simple step towards a much more positive life. Thank you.